Okay. Oh, this meeting is being recorded. Welcome, everybody. For those of you who are here and have been waiting, I am Pam Wycliffe, and I am a member of the committee that puts together our Lunch with the Leagues. We probably need to change the lunch bit because we're not eating lunch unless you brought it with you and you're eating it at home. So there are a few things that we need to say before we start off. And I am going to, I'm extending it just a tad because I always just abbreviate it. And I think we need to say all of it. And I got this from our webpage. And this is it. We never support or oppose a political party or a candidate. The League of Women Voters is nonpartisan organization in a political organization, encouraging informed and active participation in government. It influences public policy through education and advocacy. We never support or oppose a political party or candidate. We have two separate, distinct roles. One, voter services and citizen education. We present unbiased, nonpartisan information about elections, the voting process, and issues. And action and advocacy. We are nonpartisan, but after we study, we use our positions to advocate for or against particular policies in the public interest. And as for things that are going on, I really don't know current things that are happening right now locally, except that I know that a bunch of us put out postcards to our governor and to the Indiana legislators to support ending gerrymandering and asking for fair maps. And so you'll probably hear more about that. That has been proposed, that has been supported in the state and even in national. We last for an hour here till 1 o'clock. And generally the format, Erin, is a half-hour speak and a half-hour question and answer. If that's not good for you, just let us know and we can change it to however is good for you. And also, I've been doing it this way, is to have people put their questions in the chat and then I can read them to you. If you would rather have people just blurt them out, you can do that, whatever is easiest for you, or if you want to read it yourself, it's up to you.
Great.
The opinions that you hear from folks today aren't necessarily those of the league. And I would advocate for everyone to go to lwvsouthbend.org, which is our local webpage. And it gives you directions to the state and to the national, and it tells you all kinds of stuff about what's going on and policies and mission statements and, all kinds of stuff. That's fun. And now, unless somebody has something to say about local stuff, I would like to present Erin Perri, who is the executive director of the South Bend Venues, Parks and Arts. Erin is a graduate of the University of Notre Dame, undergraduate degree in arts and letters, and a master's of business administration. Erin is a published author, consultant, well-traveled speaker with extensive experience in business development, event planning, entertainment experience, and the entertainment, audiovisual, and food service industries. I think one of those would be enough. But he was a director of Downtown South Bend, where he focused on business growth and place-making efforts that included the spearheading of the sesquicentennial celebration and installation of our river lights downtown. And today he is going to tell us all about making South Bend more livable and lovable. And Erin, we welcome you and thank you for joining us this morning or this afternoon, and it's yours.
Fantastic. Thank you, Pam, for giving me the platform to be here this afternoon, spend the time with you all, tell you a little bit about what we're up to. And thank you for the important work of the league. I'll tell you, the job I do here working for the city of South Bend would not be as fruitful and beneficial if we didn't have strong advocacy and a lot of the efforts that occur from volunteer groups like your all to make sure that we have an equitable, just set of elected officials that I get to work alongside all the time. The best part about my job is it's not elected. So disappointed. Let's see, I'm going to share a screen here and like Pam said, we'll probably spend about a half hour. I love to talk and I get really passionate about the things we've got going on. Hopefully you'll learn about a few new things that are happening in and around South Bend and the why behind what we're doing. A lot of times you might recognize some of these things, but I like to attach the why to them. And so I'll show you a little bit about that. Feel free to please ask questions along the way in the chat. I'll see those pop up. If I can read it in real time, I'll try and work it into the talk. And if not, we'll go back and look at them during the Q&A time and pick up any that I missed. And so Pam can help me track those too if I missed them a little bit later. And so with that said, I'm going to pull this screen up. I think you should be able to see me now. How about that? You guys got that? Good. See some head nodding. This is our logo, by the way. A lot of people don't realize where that came from. BPA, now you got it in full motion. So the Venues, Parks and Arts Department for the city of South Bend oversees quite a few things that you're familiar with. Our department's relatively new. I mean, we've only been around about 5 or 6 years now, but all the things that roll up under our department should be very recognizable to you. The East Race and all of our community centers and golf courses, and of course the Century Center, the Morris, the Palais, all of these things that I would call the quality of life type places in the city of South Bend. It's what makes a city worth living. I think of my job is kind of overseeing the extracurriculars in some degree. The core subjects of a city might be something like police and fire, right? Public safety and streets and sewers and trash and water. You got to have your water right. But I would say even if we had the best drinking water, there were 0 potholes, your trash got picked up on time every Monday, and there was never any fire or police incidents, it'd probably still be a place people wouldn't want to live. That'd be a boring place unless you apply all the things that I get to work with day in and day out. So it's a fun job. When I first took over on my desk about 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, there were all these master plans and the various stages of evolution. Some of them were just plans on a shelf. You guys have seen these. You've been in stakeholder planning groups and whatnot, and a lot of times you go through these master planning processes and they just sit there. What we decided to do is kind of read through all these and then put them all aside. And of course, what do we have to do? Make a new master plan. And we called it a more livable, lovable South Bend. And this is how it's organized. I won't read it to you. Everything I'm covering today, by the way, isn't a secret. All of it's on our website. You can check it out if you want to do a deep dive into any of it. But if we kind of spread it out into a couple different ways. First, our primary focus areas, arts and culture, recreation, and public placemaking. Placemaking is a word that's got a little bit of buzz in recent years, but some people still kind of say, what exactly is that? And it's actually creating spaces. It's caring for our shared public spaces and keeping them vibrant, well-maintained, safe, and active. And so we also like to sprinkle surprise and delight into everything that we do. That's a term we love, and it's what makes it the comeback ability. You want to come back and see it again. You want to take a picture of it and post it on your Facebook or whatever the case may be. And so that's what we do, and that's all part of our mission. How we create a more livable South Bend and connect us to one another. The biggest initiative we worked on through this was the MySB Parks and Trails. This is we're kind of towards the back end of it, but what we did was we took a series of about 42 projects throughout every corner of the city, and we wanted to really upgrade what was a tired park system. This was primarily focused on the park system. Some of them were very signature large scale projects like Howard Park. Everybody has seen Howard Park, or LaSalle Park and Charles Black Center. We doubled that in size and added two new basketball courts and a music studio and a bike shop and a commercial kitchen and arts and flex space, so on and so forth. But you don't realize we also did, we upgraded every single restroom in the park system. Now none of them were formerly ADA compliant. Now all of them are ADA compliant, modern amenities and whatnot. So every single park restroom has been upgraded, except for two. Those are being finalized as we speak. That's Walker Field and Measle Grove. Measle Grove will be done this year, and Walker Field probably by early next year. So nonetheless, it was a huge process to get us here, right? Lots of public planning, thousands and thousands of pieces of feedback. And then of course, after we had the plan, we had to figure out how to finance it, right? Plan's only half the battle. And I'm really proud to say that we were able to finance this whole thing, which adds up to about a $61 million plan to date. And I'm not going to read all of these to you. But the high note is they came from three different sources. TIF funds, which were historically redevelopment funds used for business attraction and whatnot. Outside funds, these were grants. We wrote a lot of grants. We had a lot of sponsors. We're begging people to sponsor bricks and benches and things like that. Some of you, I'm sure, helped along that way, and partnerships. And then bonds. We took out some bonds. So people say, well, how'd you take out bonds without any new taxes or raising property taxes? These bonds were available, proceeds were available because the College Football Hall of Fame had left, right? And we had finished paying off that facility. And so those former property taxes were available for a big project like this. So all this to say is we were able to do over $61 million worth of projects without raising taxes and without adding any new taxes. And we're really proud of that. So we like to, I promised I would talk about the why behind what we do. And some of these maybe I'll spend a little more time on than others, but these are business models. So every organization has business models that they work from or frameworks. These are things that we talk about all the time and we apply them in here. The main one I'll spend time on are department impact drivers. Really four kind of areas that we touch in: social equity, health and wellness, ecological stewardship, and neighborhood and economic impact. I'll take them one at a time to show you how they manifest themselves in different projects. Albeit, when we do some of these projects well, sometimes it's hard to say, well, was this an equity project or was this an ecology project? Or was this about economic impact or was this about public health? Sometimes these things blend together. That's the best ones actually do. But for the purposes of these types of presentations, I kind of put them in buckets so you can kind of see how we might talk about some of these things. So like social equity, when I talk about the Charles Black Center, right, on the west side of town, LaSalle Park. This is George Rogers who works there. We added a bike shop. You know, there were no bike shops in South Bend west of the St. Joseph River, none. And this is an area where you have perhaps a disproportionate number of children who don't have maybe adults in their lives that can even help them fix a bike, or maybe there's not the disposable income to go to a bike shop or drive to a bike shop. So we have a bike repair shop. We're teaching kids how to repair bikes. We're getting donated bikes and things of that nature. We partner with the library and South Bend Code School to have coding classes, and we have click sites there and whatnot now, 365 days a year. Really trying to bridge that digital divide. And then the music studio in there, where music studios are expensive, but there's a lot of artistic talent in our community and youth that are interested in that industry. And so we have a free music studio that we partner with a couple of local DJs to help students learn about recording and otherwise. And so that was neat. We added free Wi-Fi throughout our park system, and the kids golf free is another thing that we like to talk about equity. Golf is a sport that sometimes feels like, oh man, it's an old white guy sport, right? And so how do we get youth interested in the game of golf? It might be expensive, it might be intimidating and things like that. We partnered with First Tee of Michiana. We actually added space onto our clubhouse and worked with them on private donations and things of that nature. And then we introduced kids golf free. I see Sally chiming in, who was a part of that initiative. So welcome to the meeting. And of course, raising the next generation of golfers is really important to us as we're talking about using these public spaces. We updated almost all of our trails. I say almost because we're going back and still doing more, all of our trails to be ADA compliant. About 60% of them were not historically. And so that's not only for some people say, oh, that's for wheelchairs or whatnot. That's not only for wheelchairs. Those are for bikers. These are for people with strollers. These are, all kinds of multimodal. And we now plow them 365 days a year. So our trails are accessible throughout the year. So when we talk about equity, it's all about accessibility, universal accessibility, not only for all times of the year, right? This is a ADA compliant kayak launch. We put that in at Pinhook Park, and so you can go in the lagoon. Actually, a wheelchair can pull right up to this launch, and it works out pretty neat. What else on the equity front? I love this story. We met, this was a really neat thing. One of our facilities and grounds members, she's often out in the parks, picking up trash and painting picnic tables and things like that. Jerry met this family over at Bain Park. And they had a special needs daughter. She's autistic. It's the little girl held in the picture. Her name's Hope. And the parents were saying, they saw a sign, we had new upgrades coming. Tell us what you'd like to see in this park. And they said, well, our daughter is autistic. She would really like, we would like some equipment here that would be amenable to her needs. And so we kind of talked to them. We worked with the playground provider. This actually is a really cool piece of sensory. And by the way, her favorite color was purple. And so we put a purple thing in there. She can actually plug her headphones in there. She can hear different sounds and things like that. It's made for people with vision. There's all kinds of really cool like colors and twists and turns. It's not a high impact like climber playground adventure, but it's made for her. And so we actually installed ADA compliant equipment in every single one of our playground upgrades throughout the city. And so, yeah, this is an area where the headphones can go in and she can touch and play, and it's all in Braille too. So it's kind of neat. I mentioned our restrooms. We updated them all to ADA and modernized them. And then we do lots of fundraisers and neat equity programs. We always want to make sure that cost is not a barrier to entry. Things like our Skate It Forward program at Howard Park. Approximately 10% of our skating were free or reduced cost skating this past year through a program we have called Skate It Forward. $1 of each admission that you pay when you come to Howard Park goes into that fund, so we can make free and affordable skating available. And we publish things in Spanish and English, and so we just try to make sure we're reaching everybody. And that's what when we talk about equity, that's what we're talking about. Even this with Boomer, it's a funny thing. You guys may have heard about it, seen it. This giant big blue boom box that we bring around. We had the symphony playing on it last night. It was really cool, and so we can go to neighborhood parks and have a spectacle that kids that might not normally come out and see the symphony, when they see this, they go, wow, what is going on? This is cool. I want to take a picture of it. We actually hired the same company that made the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, okay, out of North Carolina. When everybody sees the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, what do they want to do? They want to run up to it, a kid, right? Doesn't matter if they like hot dogs. They want to take a picture next to it and ask questions. And that's what we thought with this too. We want to not only go where kids are in their neighborhood parks and bring them experiences that they might not otherwise encounter. We're working with the library out there and different things like that, but also do it in a way that seems really cool and relevant to them. And so Boomer's running around. We had a child watch at the O'Brien Fitness Center. So parents can go, it's free while you go and work out. We'll watch your children and things like that. So these types of things, boy, I could spend so much time on all these, but it's been fun to look at even a deep dive analysis about where do we have parks. We found out there's some neighborhoods that don't have parks. And so we're adding some new parks into the systems as well. Health and wellness. We worked with United Way and added these born learning trails in a couple of different one of our parks. Added physical fitness gyms along the Riverwalk, some new spaces, and just added new trails throughout neighborhoods to get people connected to one area to the next. People are more likely to walk our trails if they're connected to something instead of just kind of round in circles. And so we partnered with the YMCA to really upgrade our experience at the O'Brien Fitness Center. We knew there was going to be a gap after the Y closed, and we said, well, hey, we've got some awesome space. What if we work together? We know it's not the same as what you had at the Riverside location, but if we work together, maybe we can serve more people in this community. And we've almost doubled the number of people we have coming to the O'Brien Center because of that new partnership. And so all about a healthier community. We upgraded playgrounds in 22 of our parks. So that was really important to us. The park system was just tired. And so we needed some new equipment and modernized it, some ADA accessible things. That zip line we put in over at Brownfield, kids love it. I think it's broken right now, but a new park's coming in soon. On the ecological stewardship front, we re-prairied something like 150 acres throughout our park system. So this is areas that we don't have to mow anymore, and they're native plants and flowers. They're not no maintenance. I mean, just because we don't have to mow them doesn't mean we don't have to take care of them, right? If you just let them go and don't mitigate the invasive species and things like that, and tend to them, keep the trash out of them. It's still a lot of work, but it's better for the environment. It's better than just green grass, and it creates pollinator spaces and spaces for wildlife and things of that nature. So we're proud of the fact that we're kind of restoring to normal these spaces. And so you'll see these around Howard Park and along the riverbank where we've done some restorations, and we've done some invasive tree and shrub management as well in those areas. We added recycling to our venues and to some of our parks, not to all of them yet, but we're getting there. Seems like a low barrier to entry. We're finally catching up on that. Bottle filling stations throughout the system. Lighting that is night sky compliant. We know that when we install lighting, we don't only want it to be energy efficient, but we want to make sure it's lighting that's not adding to what they call light pollution in the sky, that animals don't migrate as much, fish and birds, when they have the wrong color temperature of light or a significant amount of light pollution. Also not bad, it's bad for humans too, to have that bright blue color temperature light at night. That messes with your circadian rhythm. And so that was important to us too. And switched a lot of our vehicles over to compressed natural gas instead of burning fossil fuels. And so solar panels, energy efficient equipment, and a lot of our upgrades. This is the Century Center. You probably don't know what any of this stuff is, and I don't either. But we had to do a significant amount of upgrades. We actually won a national award for the amount of energy efficient upgrades we did at the Century Center. And then we installed for the first time ever a natural resources management plan. It's now a 78-page document that our ecological advocacy committee has put together and oversees that guides the way in which we care for our shared spaces. Finally, the economic impact side of things. We love to measure our economic impact. The easiest places to do that is in and around our venues, right? The Morris and the Century Center and the Palais Royale. I put 2019 numbers up there because we all know 2020, they were pretty much shuttered. We had to put people out of work, and that was a tough time for us, particularly on this front. On the park side, everybody was booming. We were busy. We kept caring for the parks, but on the venue side, we had to shut things down. But nonetheless, you can see really quickly what that means for the local economy and how many jobs this creates, and what it supports for hotel room nights, restaurant covers, and so on and so forth. So we're excited about that. Couple things here. We've actually, I'll cover these in a minute, but all of our partners that are helping make these things possible are so incredible, from First Source Bank and Centier Bank and Four Winds Field and Four Winds Casino. So we have so many great partners as well. Let's see, Studebaker Fountain. I got to give that a shout out. I mean, that just so incredibly improved the Leaper Park neighborhood, and so grateful for Vicki McIntyre and her entire committee that helped support the restoration of this once lost historic fountain, now fully restored, and just a gem there along Leaper Park. We restored the Erskine Park Clubhouse. Some people remember what it used to look like, and people tell me, oh, I had wedding receptions there, or baby showers, or prom was there. And so we said, this building shouldn't just be for golf. So we moved golf to the lower level. We think we got a better experience for golfers down there. Actually, we just opened a new bar down there a couple weeks ago, so you got to check that out if you haven't been lately. But then the whole ground floor is now restored for community use space, and so it's pretty. A lot of upgrades at the zoo too. If you haven't been to the zoo lately, we're very proud of what's been happening out there. The new education center, entrance and gift shop, the new rhino, Masamba, giraffes coming soon. We're very excited about those, hopefully by this late summer, early fall. And so lots of work going on around there. People love, I'm going to just fly through this. People love Howard Park and love to ask me about it. I was just in Carmel, Indiana. I literally just got back to my desk I thought I was going to have to be with you from the road. Last night we won an award from the International Livable City Conference, which is actually hosted in Carmel. It was in Rome in 2019. Last year they didn't have it. Next year it's in Paris. This year it was in Carmel, of all places. But Howard Park won an award. And so in 1 year's time, Howard Park, thank you. I saw some hand claps. Howard Park went from this to this in 1 year's time, right? We started all over. We did have to, unfortunately, remove some trees. Our tree growth, though, we have 3 times as many trees in Howard Park. They're coming back, but we're working on a few final things out here, but we're really proud of Howard Park. And we dug up at the grand opening a quote from Timothy Howard, who came up with the idea originally in 1870 about building a pleasure ground for South Bend residents. This was a city dump. And so when it finally opened in 1899 as our city's first park, Tim Howard, who was a city council person and local judge, said this quote, "This park has now become an ornament to our city and a place of delight for all our people." I think that's so true, exactly what it is today. An ornament to our city and a place of delight for all our people. If you spend any time in Howard Park, you'll know how diverse it is and how busy it is. And so some really fun stories and pictures that I'm just going to fly through so we can make sure we have time to get questions and answers. But we've won all, like I said, all kinds of awards. Midwest Living Magazine named us top 5 things we're crushing on this winter. And so we were the #1 place to visit in the winter. Record-breaking attendance. The neighborhood has just loved what it's done for their businesses. Barnaby's had to add a second, part of their kitchen, and they had to add more space in the kitchen at the General across the street. And so we did an economic impact study, and quite frankly, from all of these projects, I mentioned about the $60 million investment. Only 40 of it was city investment, 20 was outside dollars. But anyways, we've more than tripled our city investment in terms of this is the one-time economic impact that came from these projects. We worked on a study with the chamber and a group called Implan. That's not the ongoing residual impact that'll come from increased property values, increased commerce at some of the nearby restaurants and things like that. So we're really proud of what my SB Parks and Trails has meant, not only for the economy, but what it's doing for, like I said, social equity, mental and physical health, what it's doing for stormwater management and carbon offsets, and boy, it goes on and on. So we're so excited about the things we're doing, and so this is kind of how it shakes out. The green dots indicate projects that have been completed the past 3 years. Yellow are the ones that are underway right now, and red are still the planned and proposed ones that we'll get to here within the next year or so. This is kind of by the numbers. 1 boomer, 2.5 new miles of trails, 18 new playgrounds, 22 new restrooms, 42 total properties, 88 ADA enhancements, 140 plus programs and events annually, 40,000 new plantings, thousands of visitors, 19 plus million private dollars, 40 city. We talked about that. Some of the things we're working on still right now: Governor Kernan Trail, Penhook Park, we just reopened. I mentioned the zoo, still some work at Howard, Measle Grove, I mentioned. Our athletic courts, we've got a lot of work to do on our athletic courts. We'll be adding some pickleball soon to several places, and we know that's pretty popular. So we got a lot of work to do there. We've got some dream plans out around the Martin Luther King Center. Sites Park, I get asked about Sites Park a lot, so I included a few more slides here at the end just to kind of give you some behind the scenes look at what's happening on Sites Park. The University of Notre Dame is installing a hydroelectric turbine that runs underneath the park. It's going to generate electricity for the campus. They're spending about $40 million on this project. That will power about 10% of the university's electrical needs. The interesting part about this is it probably won't ever have a financial payback. And that's why the city didn't explore something like this. But nonetheless, they're partnering with us to rebuild a really cool park back on top of it. So the band shelter will come back new and improved. We're actually adding restrooms in the park for the first time ever. No more porta potties at Sites Park. You won't have to buy your rafting tickets from a trailer anymore. We'll have a real place to do that. If you're getting refreshments, you can get those from a place. Firefighters Memorial goes back. Here's what it looks like. This is the new river walk along the Cascades. This work is underway as we speak. If you drive by there right now, you can see it. So that new condo building we're putting a really ornate public river walk there to enjoy some of the best views of South Bend, I think. And here's your new Sites Park that'll be open late next summer. And so you see the new band shell, the firefighters memorial, the river lights, and in the background here is the restroom building and vending area. So we're pretty excited about what that's going to add to the East Race in the downtown area. Governor Kernan Trails just about done. A few little things to clean up over there, and we'll rededicate it. But we widened the river walk, added all new lighting. We got a new dock coming and whatnot over there. So that's a really special project over there. As relates to the river lights themselves, we are working. It's been a big passion of mine. I think it's added a lot to the downtown. We got some more grants from the National Endowment for the Arts, Visit South Bend, and Community Foundation of St. Joseph County. We're adding a really cool interactive lighting experience in Pier Park. That's the bottom left corner of this tunnel area. We're going to add an interactive lighted carousel, and we're actually adding lights to the back side of the Jefferson Bridge. Currently, only the front side is lit, the back side. So all of that will happen this summer. It's underway. Few final things that we're working on. We started a new program last year called Youth Jobs South Bend, Youth Jobs SB. We have currently now 72, I believe, youth working for us this summer. The idea here is that twofold. We're being deliberate about who we hire for these jobs. We're going out and recruiting kids into these positions that may not otherwise think to have a summer job, right? They might have been, you know what it is, idle hands, idle minds. We wanted to go out and talk to guidance counselors and teachers and folks and say, who are these kids that might be at risk? We want to give them a summer job. We want to help them earn money, and we want to teach them lessons along the way. And so it's not about just going out and working as a lifeguard or a camp counselor or weed whacking in our parks. We are actually doing job skills training as well. And so we're talking to you about conflict resolution. We're talking to you about diversity and inclusion. We're talking to you about financial management and credit. We're helping you open a bank account, you know, all of these types of things. And so we think our jobs can be more than just jobs, right? So that's underway right now. You might have saw this. This was a lot of fun. We had this up for 2 months, and just we wanted to put a little surprise and delight in the community. We're kind of coming out of the pandemic, and so we added this really cool public art display and populated the plaza with all kinds of live music, and we added some extra outdoor seating spaces, and just trying to help people dream about what our outdoor spaces can be. And so some temporary pilot projects that we popped up. I think the final thing I'll tell you about is the Morris 100. And this is something that we're super excited about. The Morris was built and opened in 1922. So next year is our 100th anniversary, which is incredible. The building is in need of some upgrades. Its last major renovation was about 21 years ago, 22 almost now. And anybody that owns a home knows that mechanicals don't last 22 years necessarily. We need a new roof. We want some upgraded seats, more comfortable seats. We want cup holders. You know, we want to add additional set of elevators. We want to add additional set of restrooms. You know, those restroom lines can get so long. I always hate during a show when at intermission I have to decide, am I going to wait in the restroom line or am I going to get another glass of wine? Because there's not time to do both. So this new thing will allow us to do that. And so here's a really pretty picture that gets a lot of oohs and ahs. We want to actually expand the building, have on-site parking. Behind this expansion is a parking garage, a 350 car garage attached to the Morris. This new space and circulation, some space for equity and arts programs, a new plaza, really special way to celebrate our 100th anniversary. So we're fundraising right now. You can see how this comes together with the parking garage behind it. So really neat use of space, about a $30 million project. The city has committed through our hotel motel tax bonds about a third of that project. And we got a lead gift just recently from Ernestine Racklin, Chris and Carmi Murphy, and the O.C. Carmichael Foundation, totaling $5 million. And then we've got about another $1 million worth of generous pledges already as well. So we're $16 million into the initiative, and we've just really started our public facing campaign. And so you'll hear a lot more about this as we continue to plan the celebrations and the upgrades and do the fundraising. If you haven't seen esports, I don't have time to go into it now, But if you know anything about esports, you're a part of $1 billion industry right now. This was a 1.96 billion. That says M. It's confusing though because of the comma. This is $1 billion industry now. It's not just video games. It's one of the fastest growing industry sectors in sports in the world. So we're trying to get a piece of that pie, what it means for conferences, tours, and conventions. So we've converted a portion of the Century Center. The Bendix Theater is now the Bendix Arena. And so if you want to keep up with that, esports is an incredible asset over there. So I think I did 30 minutes, but we've just got so much going on, and I get so excited about what's happening, and just wanted to kind of show you the why behind what we're doing and hit the highlights. So I'm gonna pause and say thank you. And the questions, I saw them coming in, but they didn't pop up on my screen with the shared screen. So I'm just gonna go back and look at them if that's okay. Does that work, Pam?
That's fine. I wrote them down. I wrote some of them down if you want me to read them, but
let me see if I hit them, and if I miss them, you let me know if I miss any.
And one other thing, can you tell us the web page?
Yes. Thank you.
Because I'm exhausted from all that you do.
Well,
and I'm not one of those people that looks for events all the time. They need to hit me in the head before I know about them. And so I need to start looking at them.
Yeah. SB as in South Bend, VPA as in Venues, Parks and Arts, sbvpa.org or .com. Both of them will get you there. I really encourage people to follow us on our Facebook. If you guys have Facebook, that's a great place. And we also put out print guides and things like this. You can find these at Martin's and at the library and things like this summer guide. It says 150 free events happening this summer. And so it's a really cool guide to go through and see what's going on. There's a digital version on our website too, but or you can pick them up at any of our community centers, Howard Park or Charles Black Center, things like that. But
free is good.
Yeah, and free is good. We like that. So let's see. I'm going to scroll through these and see what let me know if I miss any, Pam. The vehicle memorials with the brain on top. Yeah, the brain mobile. Those things are fun, and that's part of relevance, right, Paula? And so I think creative things attract. We struggle. I think places like libraries, museums, parks, symphonies, we struggle with kind of getting the next generation interested. So we got to do unique, fun, creative things to get people looking at it. It may seem silly sometimes, but that's what Boomer is. And there was a question about Boomer being available for neighborhood associations, block parties, and things like that. The general answer is no, and that might sound weird because we want this thing to be out there a lot. But the thing is, we actually have a critical curriculum with it. And so when it goes out, it's not just about being, fun and games. We've partnered with the library or the symphony or something that the health department, something that we really want to achieve, a goal that's kind of first principled, as opposed to it just being a party mobile. That's important to us. And so now, if there is a reason, and it's not just showing up for a party like a magician. If there's actually a reason that it's there and it's tied into something, and we can tie it into a neighborhood festival or block party, then that all the better. Like when we can tie it into other things. So I guess the answer is maybe more. It depends. O'Brien filling in where the Y closed. I don't know if it's 100% filling the need, but we're trying our best. But yes, we still have the Silver Sneakers program there at the O'Brien Center. Someone asked about that, and so that's a lot of people take advantage of that. And there's another one. There's a second one that's very similar. On
United Healthcare has.
Thank you. That's also accepted at the O'Brien Y partnership as well.
Yeah.
So the Heroes Park in Mishawaka. No, that's my colleague Phil Blasco. It's really neat. We like it, and we coordinate a lot on things. It's fun to track his successes, and I'm a cheerleader of his, and we actually go to the same church, believe it or not. So Mishawaka is doing a great job, and we try not to do too much overlaps, but sometimes it just every city wants their own thing. So Pam asked about keeping the restrooms clean throughout the day. So we have 22 restroom facilities. They should all get cleaned at least once a day. We're upping that service level standard to twice a day. We're not there yet. And you'll start to see restroom logs showing up in there along with the phone number, just like you tend to see at maybe fast food joints or at rest stops and whatnot. And so we're taking a page out of those books as a best practice that says, hey, this is the last time it was cleaned. Here's who cleaned it. Here's when we were here. If you notice something out of place, please call this number. And so hopefully you'll see the quality of our restrooms. We upgraded them all. Now we want to care for them all so they don't get back into the condition they were at. And so, that's our internal staff that does that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's our internal staff.
Okay.
Fridays by the Fountain. Yep. Kick off next week. They kick off next week. Tonight, normally they would have kicked off today. But if you go by the Morris right now, you'll notice there's a huge stage out front. And the Pulse Summer Concert Series is using the outdoor space, every inch of that land. So, but they'll Fridays by the Fountain will kick off at every Friday in front of the Morris in the John Hunt Plaza. And we'll bring back Summer Concert Series at Sites Park. The next question was about Sites Park. We'll bring back the Sunday concerts as soon as that's completed. We anticipate that'll be late next summer. So construction is tight right now. Everybody's hearing about labor shortages and things like that. And so we're not immune to that, but we think that's going to be late next summer. It is underway right now. Pickleball, you read my mind, Sally. So we have some pickleball going in. We do pickleball at O'Brien. I can tell you that for sure. I'm blanking on where our outdoor spaces are. We have a couple of places and I'll put it in the chat here. I'll pull it up on the website and find it and put it in the chat, but we want more. We want to add pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. We talked with I'm forgetting the name of the Pickleball Association, the local one, but we had a meeting with them fairly recently and helped identify some of the places where we think it should.
MPA Pickleball Association.
Yes, Bame Park will be one that is really slated for pickleball.
Is there a timeline for that?
Next year. Yep. So here's our, I just put in the chat. Oh, that was the O'Brien pickleball. Where's my other pickleball? We have some going on at Leaper too, pickleball Leaper as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, we do. I gotta find the pickleball list. I'll find it. Maybe I can find it between. Pickleball. Another question about pickleball. Thanks, Nancy. Yeah. Riverbanks. Yeah, for the most part, the riverbanks do belong to us, and we're responsible for those. Was the question? Are we responsible for the maintenance of that? There are some areas that are private, or some that are the county. So it just, I guess, depends on some of the areas. But a lot of, if there's a public recreational trail associated with it, and it's in the city limits, more often than not, it belongs to us. And so we've been upgrading those. You'll see us putting in bank stabilization in some areas, invasive tree management, new lighting. You'll see river windows coming in, or river vistas, as we've been calling them. I think when you're along the river walk, you should actually be able to see the river. In some areas, the vegetation, some people like the natural vegetation, and certainly we want to encourage that. That's good for bank stabilization and otherwise, but I think to a limit, right? We can keep the tree canopy high enough and the vegetation low enough where you can actually feel the river. And I think it feels a little safer too, when you can see the other side of the river and what's going on, as opposed to being along a wall of vegetation. So improvements at the golf courses. Sally, I can't have a presentation without Sally and being there and asking about golf. So thank you. We've done a lot at the golf courses. There's no major things coming up yet at the golf courses. Like I said, the Erskine Clubhouse got some upgrades. Elbow got some minor upgrades at the clubhouse, although that's going to be our next thing that we will do is the Elbow Clubhouse. Studebaker Clubhouse and the addition with First Tee, we're really proud of that. We're doing a new parking lot at Studebaker soon, as well as a new fence out there. But mostly you'll see us just really trying to keep the quality of the greens and the quality of the play up. And hopefully if you've been following golf here in the past few years, you'll shake your head and nod and note that the courses are in better condition than they have been in a long time. So
I will just comment that Erskine's condition is unbelievable.
thank you.
The greens and fairways quality, most of the tees, not all of them, really terrific.
And that's where our focus will continue to be, on the experience and the courses. So not a lot of major capital investments unless there's something necessitated, but Tony and the team do a great job out there. So if you ever see Tony or Dave or Gary out at Elbel, please say thank you. They're doing awesome.
I think he sees me more than he wants to.
Meet me on the island. I don't know. That's run by the South Bend Museum of the Art. And I don't know if they're planning on doing it this year. They had some early talks about it. I have not personally seen it on the schedule. I can tell you we're going to do a really neat brunch out there the first Saturday and Sunday in August. We'll have live music and brunch served out there, open to the public. So I think that'll be a fun experience on the island. And that's a part of Best Week Ever. So that'll be a little bit different, but that's that. So somebody else mentioned a comment along the river trails. Thanks for the stop and take a breather benches. Yeah, those little overlooks or whatever the case may be. We like those too. They're pretty nice. And so I'm looking for pickleball. This one's bothering me because I know we have a list of pickleball locations and I can't find it.
On the website, is there a restroom map?
That's a good question.
That was Ronaldo's question.
Is there a
The old guy.
restroom? Ronaldo, good question.
Not a map, a list.
Oh,
Yeah.
you said map. You want a list of the?
Yeah,
of the
either one.
restaurant?
Yeah, either would be
Let me
good.
see if I can find that real quick. So on our website, SBVPA, you go to find a place and then you can filter by features. So you click the restroom feature and then it shows all the ones that have restrooms. So it should be pretty, like here, I'll actually share my screen and show you how that worked.
Then you go to the ones, Ronaldo, that have the restrooms when you,
So here's
we
the
older
restroom.
people need to know where those are.
Here they all
You
are.
do
right
too,
here.
huh?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So if you were to go to our website, the main page, and you hit find a place, it's kind of neat. You can filter by feature.
We're not seeing,
Oh, you're not seeing that? I'm sorry.
Uh-uh.
Let me try that again. I'll show you how this works. Let me see. Did this? No?
That's okay. We can just go to.
there we go.
There it is.
We got it.
Okay. When you're on the find a place tab, which is right here, you see it, and you can hit
I got
filter
it.
by
Yeah.
features. And so you hit restrooms,
Ah,
and these are all the places with restrooms. And so, and you can see the list of them: Governor Joe Kernan Park, Kennedy Park, Bain Park. You can see the list. What we need is pickleball. We need pickleball on this list because I can tell you we have pickleball at currently 6 parks, and I'll put those in the chat. We have Tarkington, Coquillard, Kennedy, Marshall, West Haven, and Leaper are where you can see some pickleball courts currently. But some of them are temporarily striped. They're not the full, condition that we want to add. We were just trying to catch up with a low cost way to do it because it's popular. But next year you'll see quite a few more permanently striped pickleball courts going in.
Aaron, since those aren't on the list, would you just quickly run through those again?
Yep, I put them in the chat too. It's Tarkington,
yeah.
Oh, thanks,
Coquillard,
got it.
Kennedy, Marshall, West Haven, and Leaper.
Mhm.
Aaron, I just want to personally thank you for the things that you didn't include that you also do. I'm connected with Takesha and Loria and Connect to Be the Change, and the things that you've enabled them to do for the young people they're working with to help reduce gun violence and address its effects. And I think maybe the youth jobs program is another area where an outcome of that can be you might keep a young person from resorting to violent means to handle something.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes you all are probably like me and you read the paper and you see some of these instances of violences happening in our community, and it's like, where do you begin? And sometimes we just got to realize all these little things we're doing are changing children's lives little by little. We may not feel the impact tomorrow, but we will in the future. Pam asked, where is West Haven Park? West Haven Park is kind of by the airport. I think it's next to Dickinson School. That's where West Haven Park is. And Coquillard's confusing because Coquillard's not next to Coquillard School. It's behind Perri School. So all these things get a little confusing. But thank you all. It's fun.
Oh.
It's always fun to just communicate what we're doing and why we're doing it. We're going to keep it up. We've got plenty to go. So
Erin, you condensed everything amazingly, and thank you so much. I know that as a grandma and a great grandma now, the
congratulations.
parks are amazing. The Howard Park playground, the kids love that.
Well, here's a little teaser. Howard Park is so popular that I think we really are going to focus on making another major destination style facility
Oh,
on the west side of town.
good.
More than likely, it's going to be associated with Kennedy Park. So stand by. You'll see what's going on there. The Martin Luther King Jr. Center and Kennedy Park will probably be, we're always thinking a few years ahead on how we finance these things and work these things. So, Sites Park and the Morris are in the hopper right now. We're thinking on the heels of that. And so, within the next few years, we'll be hearing about that project and probably have it underway. So.
Well, Erin, thank you for sharing with us all that you do and your amazing talents. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my
Appreciate
hometown,
it.
and I love investing in my hometown. So we'll see you again. We'll see you all around soon, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.